Game is over.
Play 10 of the drive, 3rd and goal. Jacobs inside, into the end zone. Wow. Opening drive, touchdown, Green Bay.
And it's the day after.
Love looking inside, it is caught by Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs to the end zone. Packers back in the end zone.
Let's react to the game and look ahead.
Love putting it up top, back of the end zone. Oh, did Dobbs catch that? What a catch, Romeo Dobbs. Touchdown, Green Bay.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
A playoff type game right here. A playoff team on the other side, very good team. So in a away environment. So, it's something that we're going to have to clean up, just having that consistency through 4 quarters.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios, here's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson.
Another victory edition of Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook. Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson with you till 8 o'clock at a pair of Monday Night Football games. I know Gary doesn't like that. He'd prefer to have one. We will have our eyes on Bears and Vikings. If you're a Packers fan, are you a Bears fan? Maybe you just want the Vikings to lose. We'll figure that out as we get on the program tonight. Jason Wilde joins us coming up at 6:30. We'd love to hear from you as well. It's crunch time now in the NFL season. 3 weeks left in the regular season. Packers in fine playoff shape, but they can certainly improve their playoff standing. You don't want to go backwards, and we'll go through some of the reasons why. But Gary, definitely want to start with what we saw last night in Seattle. And I think a lot of Packers fans are conditioned to believe that crazy things are going to happen in Seattle. I am conditioned to believe that if it's nutty, it'll happen. It'll happen against the Packers. I've seen it all too often. So that team is not fully done, the Seattle Seahawks, on their home field until they're fully done. But you had this growing sense of optimism 5-6 minutes into the game that it was going to be the Packers' night. You want to quiet down a home crowd quick? The blueprint was written last night by Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I felt like, Greg, that Matt LaFleur said, we're going to take the ball and score. Matt Hasselbeck said that at the Packer game. Just don't worry about it. But it was great that they took the ball and didn't defer. And what will take a crowd out of a game is a good run game. And they got punched in the mouth by Josh Jacobs, and we must talk about the offensive line. I mean, their offensive line came off and blocked their tails off. I mean, there were huge gaping holes there in the first half. So Matt LaFleur had a great game plan. He knew how he wanted to attack them. He's now got the running back that he loves. I thought the first 5 or 6 games of the season, they really didn't lean into Josh Jacobs. Now they know where their bread is buttered. Now they know what they're going to lead with. And now they know that their offense divvies off of Josh Jacobs. So I think this offense, and I say this almost weekly, Greg, and I know you heard me. To me, it's still a football team that is ascending. You're not even seeing the best yet of the Green Bay Packers. Because I still believe, I think they're getting closer on offense, how it all works. How did the puzzle work? How do we, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, Romeo Dobbs now had a really, really nice game. How do we, Dontavian Wicks, how do we get all these guys involved, and Jordan Love and Christian Watson? How do we make all that work together at one time? Because once they do, they're going to be much more explosive than they are right now. Defensively, may I say, that Adrian Cooper, that dude's good. He's a good football player. And how to properly use him defensively. And I know that Quay Walker went out, but I thought Quay was an ascending player over the last 2-3 weeks. I thought he had played well. And then just maybe they're starting to realize how to play without Jair Alexander in the back end. I thought the back end most certainly played much better than I've seen them play the last 2-3 games a year. And, of course, you have to talk about Whelan. That guy's incredible punting football. McManus now, you just say go kick it and you feel good about it.
So I actually feel like the Packers are a better team today than they were a year ago at this time.
Yes.
They're hot. They were definitely hot. But you can start to see this team become that team that now everybody on the national level is saying, well, you don't want to see them in the playoffs. You don't want to see the Green Bay Packers getting hot, healthy. They do things that travel well in the postseason. Run the ball. Number one at the top of that list. And I thought collectively on defense, I actually think collectively The defense outperformed the offense yesterday. We'll get into some of the reasons why. But I want to go back to something else you mentioned. We're going to take the ball, and we are going to score. Matt LaFleur had it in his mind that if the team was going to win the coin toss, they were not going to defer, which we often see teams do. They were going to take the ball. And I remember this happened on 2 occasions last year. It happened in Detroit on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And it happened in Dallas in the playoffs.
Yes.
And what happened both of those occasions? About as good a football game as you can imagine from the Packers on offense in each one of those games, both on a national stage, significant time of the season, crunch time, right, Thanksgiving, plus win or go home, postseason, as a low seed traveling, the Packers did it. So that mindset was established during the week. Put yourself back in that locker room, okay, as an offensive player. It's loud in Seattle. You know it's going to be suffocating. As the game starts, they raise the 12th man flag. It's going nuts, right? Sunday night football, all the energy you could imagine right there at Lumen Field. And Matt LaFleur has this idea. Take me through an offensive player's mindset when that's the plan when you go on the road.
Because you know it going into the game, right? Because you practice all week long. I mean, they probably knew Tuesday or Wednesday that if we won the coin toss, this is what we're going to do. And here's the plays. What the first 9 out of 10 plays went to Josh Jacobs. I don't know if that was a secret. I think they all knew that's what it was going to be. And the offensive linemen knew that most of them were going to be run plays. And they collectively said, let's go knock him off the ball. Let's go punch him in the mouth. Let's go get it done, Josh Jacobs. And they know what Josh has been able to do here over the last 4 weeks. He's probably the hottest running back in the league over the last 4 weeks after they came out after the bye week. So they knew in order to quiet that crowd, if they can go in, punch him in the mouth right away, make that statement drive that will calm down that crowd. And vice versa, the defense is saying, okay, you guys go score, we'll hold it down on this side of the field. And I think which gave all 3 phases of the game a jolt. They touched everything they touched in football in the first half, they scored. The Packers did. So they had a good thing going, and I think as a team collectively, they knew what the plan was and what it was all about before they got there.
So what does a win like this do for your Packers belief-o-meter? It's a meter that I just made up. It doesn't really exist.
I like that word, though, Greg.
It's a belief-o-meter because, going into the week, you look at a Seattle team, it's a road game, Sunday Night Football, it's a first-place team, won 4 straight. They found a little bit of something here in the NFC West, and you're thinking, okay, this might, along with the Vikings game, be their only shot for a quote-unquote signature win. It's not the Eagles. It's not the Lions. I get that. It's not the Vikings. But it's a win on the road, hostile environment against a team that had been riding a bit of a heater and was a postseason team as of yesterday going into the kickoff at 7:20. Does this do anything for you? Does it entrench a point that you had in your mind? Do you still have questions? What does this do for you in your world of belief for the Green Bay Packers?
See, and sometimes these kind of questions are tough for me to answer. Because I have the media guy, which I've been in this business as long as I did in the NFL. But then I have the former player guy, NFL guy, hat too, And to answer the question, for a former player standpoint, all games are important, no matter who you play. You got to win them all, the best you can. And I guess you can put a certain weight on certain teams when you go play them, right? And try to, like Kansas City when they won that game last year at Lambeau. That, of course, that was a big game, big win for them, right? But most certainly you would say to yourself, going on the road in Seattle, and I don't care what Seattle's record will ever be, but playing in Seattle is one of the toughest places to play, no matter what their record is. Their fans are absolutely rabid fans. They get behind their teams, and it just feels like they always have luck in Seattle. So you're fighting a lot. So when you go in there, you got to bring the hammer with you because they are a physical franchise. They always have been. Pete Carroll's had that team, and they still have some of that juice left about who they once were and still can rise to that occasion. I just thought it didn't matter that they went down and beat them, or was it a signature win for me or not. I still see it as a win that they had to get to try to remain in the hunt with the Lions and with the Vikings. There's still an outside chance that we can get to second place in our division. There's still an outside chance that we can get first place. I hear Montgomery, the running back for the Lions, is now out for the year. Whoa, that's great, because I thought at one point that Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they were the best 1-2 punch running backs in the game today. And if you saw the Buffalo game against the Lions, you said to yourself, yeah, you're going to have to outscore the Lions. Their defense may not be great, but the Lions can put up 40 points. So you still know you got to go outscore those guys. So for me, I don't know if it was a signature win, but I think it's something, if you are a fan, that you can hang your hat on and go, okay, we exercise one of those demons in Seattle.
Well, it's certainly better than the alternative, right?
Oh,
Whether it's a signature win or a nice win, whatever the case, it's a win at a time the Packers need to not only click off wins if they want to stay alive in a chase for a division or maybe moving up a seed line, but also the believability of this team going into the postseason. Right? You do this in I don't know, September, fourth week of the season, you might look at it and say, all right, nicely done. You got a win in Seattle, tough place to play. You do it on December 15th, and now you're starting to thinking, okay, the team is clicking, and the team is healthy. And this was a complete performance with a little bit of backtracking on offense, I think, in the second half. We can go into some of the reasons why that may have occurred. But while I may not grade a win from a regular season perspective, if I'm looking at last night's game as a barometer for a playoff readiness quality for this team, I'd say it's pretty high, maybe the highest that it's been all season, and health has something to do with that. I was sensing the ghosts of Seattle past when I was watching that game. And here's why it happened. Packers are dominating. Josh Jacobs fumbles. Seattle gets the ball. They get points, right? Jaden Reed muffs the punt. Somehow he landed on it. But you could just start to see that the line of crap that happens in Seattle, seemingly every time the Packers go there, it turning a level of dominance into a loss somehow. And all that was overcome. All the demons were slayed last night at Lumen Field.
You know, sometimes, Greg, I don't want to make myself sound like I'm crazy or nothing, but I do have a split personality when I watch football.
So sometimes you order breakfast for dinner? Is that what you're saying?
That too. And sometimes I do put my fan hat on, and I felt the same way that you felt. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's the fumble. Now it's what? Was it 23-13? And then oh my goodness, he muffs the punt. I go, no, please, don't. And the second half, they came out, and you saw Seattle go in, make some adjustments at halftime. So now that run game is no longer there. So now you got to try to do something else to adjust. So now Matt LaFleur has to adjust on the sideline, where the Seattle Seahawks go in at halftime, they get on the grease board, they draw it up. It's much easier doing it at halftime. Guys are around you in a quiet area, and you fix that. They stop the bleeding. Then now we got to come back out in the third quarter and make another adjustment and try to figure out what their defense is doing to us and how we can get this offense going again. So I would say it was a great game as far as when you look at what they were able to do and overcome in the second half. Kudos to the coaching staff, Halfley. We don't talk about him enough, but I thought they had a great game plan. They blitzed. Geno's on my list, you know that. They blitzed Geno. They got him off the spot. They got him uncomfortable. And then after a while, they got him out of the game. And I never want anybody to get hurt, but he exited the game. In comes Sam Howell, who's a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. He's not Geno, but he still can hurt you. But they got after him the same way.
Well, you know he's going to sling it, and certainly the Packers knew that, and they pinned their ears back. The most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year for Washington was Sam Howell, and the Packers absolutely destroyed him. Very disruptive in getting pressure. DK Metcalf rendered useless. Maybe a decoy a little bit. Maybe they focused extra attention. Jackson Smith and Jigba had himself a nice game, but DK Metcalf did not have one of his signature, 75-yard
because they doubled him everywhere he went.
He did not see a lot of green grass.
Yeah, they doubled him everywhere he went. And they go, "You're not going to beat us." Jackson Smith, you're going to have to get it. You're going to have to tight end. You're going to have to do it. DK is not going to beat us. And so a couple times what we saw is DK running dummy routes, and they all jump to him, and then you see other receivers come in behind him or get big sizable chunks because they're saying, DK, you're not going to beat us.
Was it a signature win? Does it even matter? I'm going to ask Jason Wilde that question coming up on the other side. And if the playoffs are all about getting hot at the right time and being healthy, are the Packers in better shape than some of the teams right around them in the standings, including the Lions? We'll talk to Jason Wilde after this. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Romeo. This 3-syllable, you have to take the O out of the equation. That's too easy.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Iota, right? Not one iota.
Iota. Yeah. That's only 4 letters.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
Let's pretend you're a first-time listener to Wilde and Tausch. What the hell is this? They're discussing syllables.
On 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
The president of James Imaging Systems, Tom Tegeter.
Over 45 years ago, my father, James Tegeter, founded our company on a cornerstone of quality, integrity, and service as the best way of connecting with clients. As I reflect on 2024, I'm grateful for the James Imaging Systems team. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to always connecting with clients and helping them thrive. To each long-term client, I extend my gratitude and thanks for your confidence and support. We look forward to remaining connected to you as your local business technology partner. I also appreciate our new 2024 clients for connecting with us. Welcome to the James Imaging Systems family. Looking forward to 2025, I believe if each of us embraces the power of connection, our local community will prosper. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless America.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Year-end savings are here at Land Rover Waukesha. Unwrap a truly unique luxury SUV this holiday season. The new Range Rover Velar provides power, performance, sporting luxury, and all the latest technology. Get 3.9% special APR financing for up to 72 months only on a new 2025 Range Rover Velar at Land Rover Waukesha. 3.9% APR for 72 months. A deal so nice, even Santa will want in. Get your mittens on the most luxurious ride this holiday season. LandRoverWaukesha.com.
It's time for the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Experience elite orthopedic care at OAW. Their skilled teams in Pewaukee, Brookfield, and Mukwonago offer tailored treatment for your needs.
The Bucks are staying in Vegas for one more game thanks to some late game shooting from Damian Lillard against the Hawks.
Lillard has it on that left side with 4 seconds to shoot. He's going to take it into the paint on the run. Floater is up and good. Damian Lillard in Dame time delivers a beauty of a shot late in the shot clock, and boy, Doc Rivers couldn't have drawn it up any better.
110-102 the final score as the Bucks beat the Hawks in the NBA Cup semifinals. 32 points from Giannis in the win. They'll take on the Oklahoma City Thunder on Tuesday night in the NBA Cup final.
This has been the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Book your appointment today at orthowisconsin.com. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Tell me now, do you want it? 'Cause these dancing feet don't cry to the rhythm they cry for you. And every Saturday night that you
30-13 to final. Pretty convincing win for the Green Bay Packers last night in Seattle, taking the crowd out of it and simultaneously igniting the crowd, if you can imagine that, right? The scene in Seattle is a scene unlike any in the National Football League, with the level of noise pre-game. And then when Geno Smith went under center for the first time, I thought to myself, wow, it's awfully noisy in there for Seattle to be on offense. Packers fans did their job yesterday. They were out in full force.
A lot of Go Pack Go we heard in there. You know, Homer and I do the post-game show afterwards, and we had a guy call in that was in Seattle, and I think he got in on Friday, and he said just Seattle was just overrun with Packer fans, cheeseheads everywhere, downtown at the market with the fish and all that stuff, and he said Packer fans just took over Seattle. And I haven't seen that or heard that from Packer fans in a long time. I know I had been complaining about Detroit came up in here to Lambeau Field, and it felt like 70% of the people were from Detroit. It's nice to hear that we can go on the road and really take over historic field. Like, is it Lumen Field? Lumen Field. Yes, it's great to see that our fans showed up and showed out.
I don't know if he likes fish, but I like talking Packers football with him. It's Jason Wilde. Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. Happy Victory Monday, Wilde.
Well, it's not Victory Monday for me, but it's a Victory Monday for all Packers fans. And I love the public market. I have a great picture of Paula when we were there. We weren't married yet, but the Packers played there, and she actually got to do the throwing and catching of the fish with the guys behind the counter, and it was kind of gross, but very fun. So that was a great moment.
Nothing gross about the way a game started yesterday. You want to take a crowd out? I don't know. Just lean on your running back and march yourself down the field. I wondered, I'm watching the game last night and, thinking to myself, wow, if they script out, the first 15 plays, if coaches are still doing that, what did that play sheet look like for Matt LaFleur? But I come to find out that, no, not all of those plays were scripted initially before the game for Josh Jacobs. Just kind of worked out that way. I guess if something is working, you stay with it, and it certainly worked.
Yeah, so this kind of actually started with Mike McCarthy. Obviously Mike Holmgren, who introduced the game, which I thought was pretty cool given his history with both those teams. He used to script out the first 15. That was a Bill Walsh creation, and all those Bill Walsh disciples did it. Mike McCarthy used to tell us it's not so much a first 15 plays, it's more the first 15 thoughts. Because he didn't feel like he was tied in or locked in to certain plays, and he didn't want to feel that way. And it sounded to me like when Matt LaFleur explained it last night, it's kind of a similar thing. He said there were 30 of them that he's got on his sheets, and the first 3 were designed for Josh Jacobs. And as you pointed out, Greg, after the first 3, he was like, well, let's just keep giving it to him. And he ended up giving it to him 8 straight times, and then a 9th time after Jordan Love's scramble got him 4 yards. I mean, otherwise he accounted for all the yards the Packers gained on that first drive. I think it was a 63-yard drive. They got 15 on a penalty, 4 from Jordan Love, and the rest was all number 8.
Yeah, and it's starting to feel like this team is taking form in that it's really about Josh Jacobs, and then we branch off of that with other players, it feels like. And most certainly Jordan Love here, I would say after the bye, he's cut down on his mistakes, not throwing interceptions, and then Christian Watson seems to get behind defense almost repeatedly, and you can see where this offense is going. Tucker Kraft is now under the middle a little bit. He's having a really great season. You can see all these weapons now come into place.
Yeah, and yet I think, what's interesting about it, and obviously being a former running back, Gary, you want to see the running back carry the load. But I thought it was interesting, obviously in the second half, the Seahawks said, okay, we're not going to let Josh Jacobs keep crushing us. And they did a good job slowing him down. I think at one point he had 7 carries for 6 yards in the second half or something ridiculous like that. And so that's when, obviously, Jordan Love and all those weapons need to be able to take advantage of an opposing defense being hell-bent on stopping the run and come up with some big plays. And we saw obviously a couple of different passes to Christian Watson. Like you said, he's almost like, it's almost as if he's, who is that guy for the Vikings in the T-Buck game it almost seemed like he came off the sideline. He got so far behind T-Buck. And it's almost like Christian Watson is doing that to these guys. He's got guys trying to chase him down and committing pass interference penalties and everything else to try and just handle him. Because that's one of his many strengths. But I would argue that he's got more to his game than just speed, and I think we're seeing that now.
Maybe Jake Reed, maybe a guy in the T-Buck game. We'll see. I'll go back to the archives.
Somebody more obscure than that, and I'm going to be mad at myself when Chris Larson has it for me, because I used to always make that reference, and now I'm getting old and I'm forgetting stuff like this.
I don't think it was Quadri Ishmael, but we'll get on it. We'll see what we can figure out here. He had a cup of coffee. Jason, we've had discussions on this program about sort of this level of believability. Are the Packers a top-tier team? And it's great for discussion. It really boils down to how healthy are they? Are they hot going into the postseason? All that kind of stuff. And folks suggesting, well, they don't really have a signature win on their ledger. They've lost to all the elite teams in the NFL when they've had an opportunity. What does last night do, both inside the locker room and maybe on just sort of a national level believability scale?
I mean, obviously they're not worried about that, right, Greg? Like they kind of like the fact that maybe people don't think they're all that good. But for me anyway, for those of us that are trying to figure out how good these guys are, I think it's huge, right? I mean, I just think that, this was a game that, while certainly far from perfect, we all know that. And they had the big lull in the second half offensively, which Matt LaFleur was clearly annoyed with. Those are the kinds of things that you just can't allow to happen if you're going to be playing in, say, a shootout against the Eagles or the Lions. But I thought on balance, this was the kind of game that said, all right, we're contenders. We may not be the top contenders in the NFC, but we're in the conversation. And, for folks that kind of looked at it as, oh, well, this is yet another example of, the Packers are flawed. Well, yeah, but I don't know what those folks are expecting. Like Gary and Homer and I were talking about it in the early morning hours this morning after the game, that it felt almost as if nothing was going to be quite good enough beyond like a 4-quarter 42-10 just complete manhandling. And even then we would have said, well, they did give up 10 points. I mean, it's just, the level of expectation, I think, is awfully high, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they're a flawed football team. There's no doubt about it. They are not a perfect football team by any means. But they're better than most in the NFC, and whether or not they're good enough to get it done in the postseason, do I think that they can go on the road and beat, say, the Rams or the Buccaneers in the first round, and then beat, say, Detroit in the second round, in the divisional round, and then go and win the NFC Championship game in Philly? No. I don't believe they're capable of that. I think it's unlikely. But I'm not willing to say there's no way in God's green earth that they can pull that off, because when they are playing well, they are an impressive group. And there were flashes of that undeniably last night. Eric Gulliford
There it is.
Gulliford. I feel much better now.
45-yard bomb hauled in from Jim McMahon in a Vikings 15-13 win in 1993. Go ahead, Gary.
How do you think they're playing? And I know a lot of people try not to talk about it, but from the secondary standpoint, how do you think they're doing without Jair Alexander?
Well, they're certainly used to it, right, Gary? And
yeah.
I think I think the bigger challenge last night, and I didn't get to talk to Keyshawn Nixon, and obviously I would like to talk to him this week because, I'm curious if there was a little bit of rust for him to be playing inside as much as he was, right? I mean, they believe, and he has proven to be a solid outside corner, and they've used him that way under Jeff Hafley, where they certainly weren't willing to do that the previous 2 years under Joe Barry. And so the absence of Javon Bullard and of Jair Alexander left them with, all right, we'll have Nixon outside on base downs and nickel downs. We'll put him back inside where he used to be. And, I didn't think he had a real great night last night. So I'm just curious how much of that is just the challenge of shuttling back and forth. Because if you remember, when Evan Williams went down against the Lions, they did not take Bullard then out of the slot and move him to safety to replace Williams when Williams went out. They went straight to the bench and got Zane Anderson in there. And so they want to have as few moving pieces as possible, but when you both have Bullard and Jair out, that kind of limits your options. And so that's how they had to play it. I didn't think it was great, but I think their defense, look, the Lions, we know what they're capable of. I don't think there's a whole lot of shame in giving up 34 to them. There's been some other teams that have given up significantly more. They needed to be better than they were in that game, don't get me wrong. But I think their defense is trending very much in the right direction, and even if the stats aren't vastly different than what they were under Barry, I do think they're very clearly a better defense. And I think that, and I was definitely wrong about this, I kind of assumed, okay, we're hearing all about how this defense is more aggressive, it's simpler, these guys are going to be able to pick it up, and it's going to make things a lot easier. I think it's been tougher, and it's been more of a process than I thought it was going to be. And Jeff Hafley kind of talked about that a couple weeks ago, and I think now they're finally starting to kind of hit a comfort zone within the scheme.
6 different players had a sack last night for the Packers against Geno Smith and Sam Howell, the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year. Howell certainly used to being run down. Geno Smith among the passing leaders in terms of yardage in the NFL, so it's a team that likes to pass. Packers definitely took advantage of that on the road. Entertaining game, no doubt about it. Jason, no show next week, of course, because the Packers play the Saints on Monday Night Football, so we'll get through next week, Monday's game. We'll get through Christmas. We'll likely get through the next weekend's game. And then, going into the final week of the regular season, have a very good snapshot for what this team could be looking at in the postseason. So, 2 games, and then we'll talk to Jason Wilde again on this very program. We appreciate it, pal. Thank you.
I'm guessing I will talk to you both sooner than that on other programs across 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin. So I look forward to that. All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Yep, you do the same. Jason Wilde joins us each and every Monday here on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, 9 to noon. It's Wilde and Tausch on ESPN Wisconsin. Coming up next, our best electrifying play of the game and the return to the lineup for 2 Packers players, one on offense, one on defense. And boy, did they both have an incredible impact on last night's game. We'll get to it after this.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Get ready for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the 300K season finale giveaway at Potawatomi. Friday, December 20th, watch your entries from Bird Bash, Cash Clash, and Winter Stash. All pile into one massive drawing for a chance at up to 50 grand cash. Be there to win your share. December 20th, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at payspeak.com/finale. Must be 21 years old to play.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Elson here from our friends at Best Electric Service. An A-plus Better Business Bureau family-owned and operated who have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, new LED in lighting, electric vehicle charging, and all residential service calls. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Kevin Moret for Mentality Men's Health. I know that a guy's confidence comes from many sources. For our clients, the way they look is a big driver. When you have the muscle mass and the muscle tone, it changes the way you carry yourself. Did you know that 70% of Mentality clients have increased muscle mass and muscle tone through testosterone and peptide therapy? Their confidence is back and everyone can see it. If you want to recapture the way you look and felt years ago, join the over 25,000 clients and start today. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Wallace. Right now at Universal Windows Direct, get 0% financing for 60 months, restrictions apply. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to uwd.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Your current car, soon to be your old car. A new car, better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score and score monitoring on most new consumer checking accounts. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit monitor from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Green and gold fans, it's game day. And you know what that means. Tailgating with friends and raising a glass to our favorite team. This season, make Bacardi the star of your pregame party. Whether you're mixing up a classic Bacardi and cola, refreshing Bacardi lime and soda, or a smooth spiced and cola, Bacardi is the perfect pick for game day fun. Grab a bottle and get ready to cheer on Green Bay with the best in hand. Available now at your local retailer. Live passionately, drink responsibly. Bacardi USA, Miami, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Every child deserves a safe, loving, and permanent home. Help the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption find families for children who've lingered in foster care the longest. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, I feel really good. I think we're in a really good spot. I think we got to do the same thing we've talked about all season, just take it one game at a time and finish the season off and, be where we want to be for playoffs. But I like where we're at, and we just got to keep figuring out ways to get better, keep pushing each other, and find ways to get these wins to end the season off. But I like where we're at.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love following last night's 30-13 win over the Seahawks in Seattle. Very impressive win for the Green Bay Packers. They don't really gain any ground here in the seeding race in the NFC, but they don't lose ground either. Washington able to pull off a victory yesterday. Of course, Minnesota on the field tonight at home against the lifeless Chicago Bears. We'll see what becomes of that. I guess you could say if you're a Packers fan, maybe you're a Bears fan for tonight and tonight only. We'll preview that matchup and what else lies ahead here for the Packers coming up. Time now for our best electrifying play of the game from last night's win in Seattle.
It's time for the electrifying play of the game.
Intercepted. Quay Walker's got it. Walker's still going. Looking for the end zone. Quay Walker is in Touchdown!
Presented by Best Electric Service.
Love on third down to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Love to Dobbs!
For over 50 years, no job has been too big or too small for Best Electric Service. Connect with the best and learn more at bestelect.com.
3rd and 5. Love putting it up top, back of the end zone. Oh, did Dobbs catch that? What a catch, Romeo Dobbs! Touchdown, Green Bay! What a catch!
It was the final score of the game for the Packers. Their only touchdown in the second half came in the fourth quarter. An unbelievable catch from Romeo Dobbs. Back line of the end zone, able to control the ball. The end fingertip catch as he rolled through the back of the end zone and put the Packers on top, and they would run away with this one 30-13. Yeah, some closer than you would hope moments in the second half, but ultimately Packers outclassing the Seahawks. But it was the return of Romeo Dobbs playing after coming off that concussion. Gary had the Guardian cap on. You don't often see that on wide receivers, but Romeo wore that last night. And very effective. 4 catches, 30 yards, a pair of touchdowns. One, it was just kind of a power move into the end zone, dragging defenders in from about the 5-yard line. And the second, a fingertip catch. And which he wasn't really open. Jordan Love just sort of threw it to a spot, and he was able to navigate his way underneath it. But the importance of Romeo Dobbs here coming to life in this game last night.
You know, the first touchdown stands out to me the most, Greg, and here's why. We talk about the first 30 plays that are scripted and all that, and we also do red zone offense. Red zone offense is normally done maybe like Thursday or Friday, so maybe they have more like 30 or 40 minutes. That's what we're going to work on that Thursday, that Friday's red zone offense. The first touchdown to me, we don't talk about Matt LaFleur enough as far as a play caller or setting up plays. And you have certain plays in the red zone that you want to run, and maybe that was a red zone play or not, I'm not sure. But here's what I do know. This offense is predicated on motion. Window dressing is what we call it. But what we're trying to do, like I'm playing, but what we're trying to do is get that defensive player to move 1 foot to his left or one just ever so slightly, so maybe there's a angle block with the offensive lineman. He can get a better angle to him. Or maybe this is a situation where we get a guy to move a little bit and that window to throw in is a little bit wider. In this case, they brought, and I forget who was in motion, but they brought someone in motion all the way over to the right, and then that kind of left Romeo Dobbs singled up to his left side. And when the one guy went in motion to his right, you can see the linebacker kind of shifts and moves with him. And now as you're practicing these things, you're saying, okay, here's a look, here's what we're going to get. All we need is for this linebacker, for this safety to move ever so slightly. And when he does that, Romeo, you've got to get inside. You got to get an inside release. You're going to be wide open for a touchdown. And really that play worked to perfection. You ran it, you got the motion, everything worked out for you. The linebacker drift over, and then there goes a window. Romeo Dobbs is 101. I just thought it was just a simple but great game plan by Matt LaFleur to create a play where you get the matchup that you really wanted to get you that touchdown.
Oh, just an incredible hands catch, too, right?
Oh,
just an incredible
absolutely.
Hands catch.
Yeah.
And that's really his superpower. He can make very difficult catches look very easy, Romeo Dobbs. So we saw the Packers receivers out of this 2022 class both do very interesting things. And I've raised this question before on this very program. If you looked at the future of the Green Bay Packers receiving corps and you assume they can only keep one of them, Christian Watson or Romeo Dobbs, where do you go? I first brought up this question after Christian Watson exploded for his 100-plus yard day, right? Just an incredible day.
He's
caught
still
everything.
Though.
He's still playing at a very high level.
He really is, yeah.
But with Dobbs back, and this was, again, after Dobbs had his sort of, I didn't show up for practice one day kind of thing, suspension, and people were maybe a little bit more sour on him. I get that. That feels like it's a thing of the past, at least hopefully. Watson's playing at a high level. His toe tap on the sidelines might be the best catch of his career.
The ball, the throw, though, too, was everything about that was great.
Protection, throw.
Yes.
The turn your body, toe tap, like that was unbelievable from Christian Watson. But can you keep both of these guys? How do you decide, if you're Brian Gutekunst, who you keep around? There are going to be some very interesting decisions down the road. Both are still under contract for another year.
The problem is who's going to bid for their services. That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get into. But if you don't get anybody bidding for their services, their numbers that they have are not going to be big numbers, per se. And that's what the NFL is all about. You get paid on your numbers, and sometimes you get paid on potential. But I feel the way this is going, that the Packers will be able to sign them all, because I just don't think they're going to have that 1,000-yard receiving year or, 80 catches, 90 catches. None of these guys are going to have anything like that. It's going to be pedestrian. But if you are a young and up-and-coming team and you're looking for a really good receiver that you'll pay out of the nose with that is unproven, somebody will take a chance on one of these guys. If that doesn't happen, I think they get them all back because the production doesn't equal to the money.
I'm watching the play that you suggested was impressive to you. And that was Romeo Doubs' first touchdown reception of the game. So this happened. Packers were up 7-0, and they had forced Seattle to punt. Green Bay had the ball again. So we're talking about the last 2 minutes of the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
If you go ahead and look at this play, you mentioned the motion. It was kind of an orbit motion from Jaden Reed, coming from the left side of the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up going behind Jordan Love. And when he does that, the linebacker in the middle of the field makes two horizontal steps to the hash mark, right? Him doing that, and also bringing the safety over with him to the hash, leaves Doubs one-on-one.
Right.
Doubs runs a little quick inside route, and Jordan Love puts that throw in between the 8 and the 7, with the outstretched hand of the inside linebacker going one direction and the outstretched hand of the cornerback going the other direction, and he fits it into the window.
Isn't that a beautiful thing when you go back and watch it, how it's designed and
it's
moved?
Incredible.
You're saying to yourself, if I can just get this linebacker or if I can just get this safety to move 2 inches, 3 inches, something, he's going to be open. Now, Romeo, you got to get the inside release, and you got to make sure you have a short split. It's all got to be done perfectly, and there's going to be a small window for Jordan Love to fit that thing in there.
That was an incredibly small window. Doubs catches the pass with a defender on his back at the 7-yard line. There's another defender at the goal line as soon as Doubs gets his hands on the ball. He steps up to about the 3. Defender still on Romeo's back at the 5. Now he's got 2 people on him. Sandwiched. Romeo is the meat in a Seattle Seahawks sandwich at the 4-yard line with body lean toward the goal line, and he just pushes and drags and fights into the end zone.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff right there. That is some good stuff.
It is. It really is. It shows you the effort that he has. And really, you're talking about the little dust-up that he had earlier this year. I think that is gone. I think that's behind him. I think he understands. When you have a lot of young guys like this, though, in the locker room, Greg, sometimes you avoid of leadership on the offensive side of the ball. And it's got to be Jordan Love has got to come to the forefront and be the leader. And I think as a group, they're leading each other as a group. And I think they've kind of put that stuff behind him. Romeo understands what it's about being a professional. And you just come in and make a play. He's not a soundbite, right?
No, he's
Romeo's not one of these guys that you're going to go look to get a soundbite from. He just want to come in, be treated right, and he's going to work real hard for you.
Welcome back, Romeo Doubs. Also, welcome back to Edgerrin Cooper. We'll detail the night of the Packers rookie linebacker. He was outstanding after this. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday with Greg and Gary.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. What happens when you mix a 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be. I think his legs... Yeah.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry
you guys being serious?
turnovers.
You guys can't put 2 and 3
I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnovers.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you two, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. for you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. That's right. Now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
I knew there had to be a better way to get relief from joint pain aside from surgery and harmful medications.
That's football legend and dancing champ Emmitt Smith, who knows a thing or two about joint pain.
Turns out I was right. It's called QC Kinetics, and now tens of thousands of patients and counting all across the country, they're feeling amazing. They say, hey, Emmitt, you were right.
QC Kinetics zeroed in on a technology that is revolutionizing pain treatment. They are transforming patients' lives. The largest provider of non-surgical regenerative treatments using natural healing properties to help restore and repair aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. Call them today for your free consultation.
QC Kinetics. I knew there had to be a better way. I love it when I'm right.
QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Give the gift of a special night out from the Bartolotta Restaurants. Purchase a gift card at bartolottas.com and get a $20 holiday bonus for every $100 you spend. Happy holidays from all of us at the Bartolotta Restaurants, and thank you, Milwaukee.
You know what time of year it is. That means getting gifts for the special people in your life. Hey guys, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Knight. So the Jewelry Center is the best place for the best gifts. I know it, Chewy knows it, Gary Ellerson knows it, and so many people know the Jewelry Center is the answer. Naturally mined and lab-grown diamonds, a team of experts that will make your gift-giving or engagement a breeze this holiday season. Visit the Jewelry Center at any one of their 3 locations or online at shoptjc.com. Happy gift giving from ESPN Milwaukee and the Jewelry Center.
The Harlem Globetrotters 2025 World Tour is here, bringing all the cool tricks and laughs fans love. We're coming to the Fiserv Forum on December 31st. Go to harlemglobetrotters.com for tickets to the 2025 World Tour, presented by Jersey Mike Subs.
Experience the excellence of Catholic Memorial High School for yourself. Come see why their students gain a competitive edge at CMH. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule a VIP tour or student shadow day. Meet their inspiring teachers, welcoming students, and feel the energy of the CMH culture. All students achieve more than they ever imagined possible. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule your visit. That's CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School in Waukesha, where you rise.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Folks, I want to talk about my good friends over at Best Electric Service and A+ Better Business Bureau, family owned and operated, who have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, installing your new Briggs & Stratton generator, or electrical vehicle charging, and all residential service calls. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work right now. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
He's just a hell of a player, and I think does a great job of putting him in positions to have success, and it's been fun to watch and witness his growth. I think Campanelli does a hell of a job with that whole room. Those guys have all gotten better throughout the course of the season, whether it's Quay, whether it's Eric, whether it's Isaiah. They are all improving. Hopper, every guy in that room, and it's because of the consistent coaching that Campanelli does, and I think Hafley does a great job of putting those guys in positions to make plays. And then Coop's a hell of an athlete, man. He's a really good football player. I think he's just scratching the surface of what he could become in this league.
Packers head coach Matt LaFleur commenting on the play of Edgerrin Cooper, the rookie linebacker, back on the field last night and making his presence felt. He's made his presence felt in every game he's played. It's not been perfect. He's made mistakes, but he's also been right in the middle of some key plays, turnovers, doing a little bit of everything last night, Gary. We're now at a point where I look at the Packers linebacker core in general, and I say, what were they trying to do, force-fitting Chris Barnes on us 3 years ago? But nonetheless, here we are. Just to recap what Edgerrin Cooper did last night. We talk about impact on a game. 6 solo tackles, 3 pressures, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, an interception, and 2 pass breakups. That's everything for a linebacker. The highest-graded defender on the Packers team yesterday, grading out at nearly 94 on a 100-point scale. He had an incredible game. And everywhere you turned, it was either 56 or 55 making a play on the linebacking core.
And I was going to say that. I think Kingsley
56 did a lot.
Kingsley Enagbare, no one talks about. Dude had 2 sacks. I think at one part in the game, it was all Enagbare. I think he shut down a whole series by himself. By himself. Brenton Cox, we don't talk about enough. I think he's had a sack in every game after the bye week. The letting go or trading of Preston Smith, I think, opened the door for some of these young guys to step up and improve. Now, we still have yet seen Lucas Van Ness. I didn't see him much last night. I know he played. Now I'm looking for him to make another move here, and I think it's in him to do that. I think defensively they're so young in that front. They're so young at that linebacker position where they have a lot of room for growth.
Edgerrin Cooper specifically, what stands out to you most about him? Because we have seen him get to the quarterback. We have seen him in pass coverage, had the interception last night. We have seen him play the run, right? So he's flashed in almost every space you could imagine a linebacker to flash. Oh, by the way, he had a couple of tackles on special teams last night, too. Where has he impressed you the most, considering he is a rookie and he's not played a full season?
Well, here's the thing. And I think he and Quay Walker are much alike. They're not. But it feels like Cooper has a better feel for the inside linebacker spot. Stuff that you can't teach, that you just can get. It feels like he's more natural. That's the word I'm looking for, Greg. He's more natural at that inside spot than Quay Walker is. I still contend Cooper is your middle linebacker, Quay Walker is your weak side. And then let's go. I think, to me, if I would do it, that's the way I would do it when Quay comes back. They kind of put him in interchangeable parts and kind of sub each other in and out. But I still think long term, if you look at Cooper, I think he's more of the Mike linebacker, and Quay is more of the Will linebacker to the weak side.
So Quay Walker left last night's game with an injury. We'll kind of see how the week maps out with Quay to see if he'll be available for Monday night's game. Packers take on the Saints on Monday Night Football at Lambeau Field. Got 2 games on Monday Night Football that will begin in the 7 o'clock hour. We are back in just a couple of minutes. I want to look ahead. If the playoffs started today, Packers would qualify as a number 6 seed in the NFC. They would take on the Rams in Los Angeles. How quickly things change. We'll take an eye on the division races, where the Packers stand, and what is their incentive to move around a little bit. We'll get to it after this. It's hour number 2 of Potawatomi Sportsbook, Football Monday.
Hey, ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Elson here from our friends at Best Electric Service. An A-plus Better Business Bureau family-owned and operated who have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, new LED in lighting, electric vehicle charging, and all residential service calls. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
Wins, and more wins are waiting to be uncovered at Potawatomi. Get ready to find yours in a winter stash of $300,000 in prizes this December. Play with your rewards card for entries, drawings on 3 thrilling Thursdays. Some seriously big wins are waiting for you. Winter Stash at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Every day, Wisconsin's 600,000 family caregivers help their loved ones to continue living safely in their own homes. It's not easy. Each year, they spend an average of $7,000 out of their own pockets to provide this care. Wisconsin needs family caregivers, and they need more support. Tell your state lawmakers, Wisconsin family caregivers need a caregiver tax credit in 2025. Learn more at aarp.org/WI. That's aarp.org/WI. Paid for by AARP Wisconsin.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The game is over.
Play 10 of the drive, 3rd and goal. Jacobs inside, into the end zone. Wow. Opening drive, touchdown, Green Bay.
And it's the day after.
Love looking inside, it is caught by Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs to the end zone. Packers back in the end zone.
Let's react to the game and look ahead.
Love putting it up top, back of the end zone. Oh, did Dobbs catch that? What a catch, Romeo Dobbs. Touchdown, Green Bay.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
A playoff type game right here. A playoff team on the other side, very good team. So in an away environment. So, it's something that we're going to have to clean up, just having that consistency through 4 quarters.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios, here's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson.
Well, believe it or not, the Packers didn't officially lock down a playoff berth with last night's win, but they did achieve their 10th win. Packers now one of 4 teams in the NFC with double-digit victories. Just 3 weeks left to go here for the Packers, and trailing the Minnesota Vikings by a game and a half, we'll call it. Vikings are playing tonight. So trailing by 1 in the loss column, and I should say 2 in the loss column and 1 in the win column. So Minnesota about to take the field here against the Chicago Bears. It's hour number 2 of Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson with you from Potawatomi Sportsbook, where they will have both the games on. The 2,000-square-foot video wall settled in for a nice night here. Monday Night Football, Bears and Vikings. Then you've got the Raiders taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture here, Gary, because it's not a lot of shifting in terms of the teams. I think the major shift that you could still see here is with regard to the NFC West. I'm curious about the NFC South, but let's just look at how things lay out right now.
I'm good with that, Greg. Let's do that.
All right, so Detroit is on top. They are still on top. I'm going to start putting an asterisk next to Detroit's name.
Why is that?
Because they can't stop anybody, and they're losing players left and right.
They can't.
At some point on your path to the Super Bowl, I feel like it catches up with you. When you start taking on the elite of the elite, and I would say the Bills are a top 5 team in the National Football League. Bills hung nearly half 100 on Detroit yesterday. Detroit could not stop a soul. They had a hard time stopping the Green Bay Packers, as a matter of fact. Nonetheless, Detroit is in first place in the race here for the number 1 seed of the record of 12-2. Philly, they're on a heater. They stay hot. They're 12-2. You've got Tampa Bay currently leading the NFC South with a record of 8-6. Certainly we'll keep an eye on the Falcons game tonight, as they are 6-7, having lost 4 straight. They are in desperate need of a win to try and stay in this thing. And the Rams have now moved ahead of the Seahawks in the standings. Same record, but the Rams have moved ahead as the leaders of the NFC West. So if the playoffs began today, the Packers would be on the road to face the Rams. And while I understand some people are looking at the Packers saying, hey, I don't want to play that team is red hot, I don't know if you want to play the Rams either. It's another team that is getting hot. And it'll likely be that the Packers are a 6 seed. They could still be a 5 seed. They could still be a 7 seed. Right now, they've got that number 6 seed sort of in control. What's the best path here? Right? You can't control who wins the NFC West. Packers have beaten every team they've played. Can't control who wins other divisions. Packers have had good success against multiple divisions here this season so far. What is the ideal path?
Well, let me just say this, Greg, and once again, you got me split personality. I want to go play anybody, anywhere, and beat them. Okay, got that out of the way as a football player. I would not want to go to L.A. and play McVay and them. I'd rather go to Tampa, or if it's Seattle, I'd rather go to Seattle than go to the Rams. I think the Rams are just as hard as the Green Bay Packers right now. I think they've gotten it together. Matthew Stafford, can never underestimate him. He's won it before. He's a champion. He's done it. Make all the throws from all the angles. And right now, I think if the weakest part of our team right now, dare I say, it could be our secondary without Jair. You got to have Jair if you're going to go play the Rams, because that loosen up so many other things for you. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp will eat us up in zone. That's their thing. I mean, they're not speed burners, but they're a hell of a route runners. Can they get behind you? Yeah, but their routes are impeccable, and they know where all the soft spots in the zone. They're just that good. Matthew Stafford is just that good to find all the holes if we decide to go in there and play 80% zone. Afraid of that. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield's good, but he's not as accurate as Matthew Stafford. Once again, it comes down to quarterback. Geno Smith, he's not Matthew Stafford. Now, Matthew Stafford's going to give you a chance to get a couple because he's going to take risks, but more times than not, he's more accurate than those other two guys. That's the way I see it.
So the Rams, to your point, have won 3 straight games. They beat the Saints 21-14. They beat the Bills 44-42 in an all-time shootout. That was in Los Angeles. And then proving they could win a different way and in terrible conditions, playing in San Francisco, they won 12-6. So they go from scoring, 5 or 6 touchdowns against the Bills to just a collection of field goals against the 49ers. Common trait, wins for the Rams. And they've put themselves in position now with the Jets, Cardinals, and Seahawks down the stretch. That Seahawks game on January 5th could quite literally decide or determine where the Packers are going in the first round of the playoffs. That game on January 5th, it could mean nothing for the Packers.
Right.
It could mean everything for where they go. Right? We'll see how it shapes up. I am with you, and I know you can't choose your playoff opponent. Packers are playing good football. They could end up in Tampa Bay. They could end up in Atlanta, for goodness sake.
I'm good with ending up in Atlanta.
I'm okay with the NFC South.
Yeah, for sure. Tampa or Atlanta, let me have them.
Let me ask you this. Should it be that the Packers end up back in Seattle? Is that a good thing for the Green Bay Packers? Because they just got out of there with a win. They just dominated. And we know it's a tough place to play. We get that. The Packers sort of, eschewed that notion last night. But what would that situation be like going back to Seattle?
Yeah, I just think the Packers are a better football team. I really do. And not that we showed our hand. They know what we're going to do. We're going to run the football. But everybody knows that, right? Everybody watch film. They know what we're going to do. You got to go stop it. You got to punch them in the mouth. You got to go stop it. So I'm not concerned about that they played Seattle already, and Seattle played us. So I mean, we should know a little bit more about them as well. So yeah, I'm not afraid of that. I would say if you play them again, they'd probably try to get DK Metcalf the ball by any means necessary. That's what I would do. But anything else other than that, I think we know that we can beat the Hawks.
So I'm curious to see how it plays out in the NFC for obvious reasons. Here's the other thing to pay attention to. The Detroit Lions are starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
This is no joke, right?
With David Montgomery now.
This is a team that can beat you in a variety of ways, right? At the beginning of the season, we thought, well, they can get after you with 4. They can sink people into coverage. They can take away anything you want to do. We have seen week after week this defense give up a lot of points. You can score on the Detroit Lions. Now, they've got an issue on the offensive side of the ball. So just yesterday, in a loss to the Buffalo Bills, they lose David Montgomery, one of their better running backs, that 1-2 punch. It's still Jahmyr Gibbs, right? 1,000-yard back. Still a great player. But no David Montgomery for the rest of the year, sprained MCL. Starting defensive end, Aleem McNeil, sustained a torn ACL. He is done. Starting cornerback, Carlton Davis, fractured jaw. He is out indefinitely. Going to miss at least the regular season. More than likely the playoffs. He may be back by the time the Lions reach the Super Bowl, should they reach the Super Bowl. So, I mean, how many hits can you take right? I mean, like all of a sudden you look at Detroit and say, well, I got to go there in the second week of the playoffs. Maybe that's not such a bad deal. If you're given the option of Philly or Detroit, give me Detroit all day long right now if you're a Packers fan.
Well, David Montgomery hurts them more than any defensive player that they lost. I think David Montgomery hurts them more than Aiden Hutchinson because they don't have a replacement for him. Their big thing is they can score a lot of points on the defensive side of the ball. They can score a lot of points on the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, they're going to blitz, and you're going to hit them, and they don't care. They're playing man. They're in that cat coverage, and you just got to go get them. So they're going to give us some points. But offensively right now, Jared Goff should be a candidate for MVP along with Josh Allen because he's playing just that good right now.
Is that your official 1-2?
Saquon's in there somewhere.
Okay. There are two teams we're maybe not giving enough credit to. I think we've been riding the Eagles wagon for a little while, although quietly on this show.
I don't think we have been.
Well, I think I saw it coming when they got healthy. I said, look out now. This team is starting to find itself. And I think they just blown out the Cowboys. I mean, okay, it's the Cowboys, but nonetheless, it's also a 34-6 win. The Philadelphia Eagles are playing better football than anybody, not named the Buffalo Bills right now.
Yeah, right.
And just look at the record. I mean, they have won, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row, 10 games in a row. 10 games in a row.
And they got a dust up in the locker room last week. There was a dust up in the locker room last week about A.J. Brown wouldn't catch enough balls, and then now that they go out and what did A.J. catch like 2-3 touchdowns? I mean, so they can do whatever they want. I mean, they can run Saquon, they can throw the football with Jalen Hurts. I mean, they can do whatever they want. And basically for them, it's if you're going to play two high safety or single high safety. If you're going to bring the other guy down in the box, guess what? They're going to throw it. If you go two high safety, guess what? They're going to run it with Saquon and dare you to stop it. And their defense is just good enough. I mean, they've got a top 5 defense. I think that Jalen Carter, who Sirianni got into an argument with Jalen Carter, I think on the sideline. They got a lot of stuff going on internally, but they seem to just feel off all the negative stuff and they turn into positive.
That's how Philly is, right? They boo Santa Claus, right? They can get by a little dust up on the sidelines.
Yeah, they cheer when Michael Irvin broke his neck.
If you're asking me where, if I'm the Green Bay Packers, where would I rather go in the second round of the playoffs, Detroit or Philly? I'm taking Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm not taking Philly.
Yeah.
I am not taking Philly in that situation.
No doubt.
I'm absolutely taking Detroit.
Well, although, Greg, I'm not afraid of Philly. And I know it was the first game of the year, but we've been there. Philly can be had. To me, the Packers, with their offense, matches up well with everybody that's out there. Because they have so many things they can do. Wait till they get Luke Musgrave back. They're going to add in a whole new different wrinkle that Matt LaFleur can do between the hash marks.
That's an interesting one. I am not sold that Luke Musgrave is going to do anything or mean anything the rest of the way.
Yeah.
He might be healthy enough. He might get a couple of snaps. There might be a decoy thing with him. I don't wrap my mind around him doing anything to disrupt what Tucker Kraft is doing.
No.
If anything, it's like an accent.
Yes, but he's going to catch the one pass down the middle of the field.
Maybe that's all it is.
For a touchdown.
How much can you trust that dude coming back? He hasn't played all year.
I'm just telling you what's going to happen. He's going to catch one pass down the middle for a touchdown.
All right, you heard it here first.
And what that does is you don't necessarily have to go to him every single time, but when he comes in, you got to know where he is. And then all of a sudden you run that same route again. Here comes Jada Reed underneath. Here comes Tucker Kraft underneath after he runs that same doggone route because now you know he's fast and get past you. So all these different things they can do to set up other plays from players that they have makes it great. We just talked about that whole thing with Jaden Reed. The formation you get, you put him in motion, the linebacker slides over, the safety moves over a little bit, you get inside release, boom, boom, touchdown Dobbs. I mean, Luke Musgrave now, when he comes in, is going to be an afterthought. He's going to be wide open. He's going to be so open, you can go hand him the football. You just got to hope Luke Musgrave just don't fall down after he catches the ball.
Right. Right, or before he catches the ball.
Either
That would
one.
also be
That
bad.
too.
Coming up next, was this the Packers' best collective performance on defense? What we watched last night against the Seahawks in Seattle. And Josh Jacobs, want to pivot to him coming up at about 7:30. Is he the most indispensable player not named Jordan Love? Or including Jordan Love. We'll get into that coming up. Still got about 40 minutes left or so. Would love to hear from you as well at 800-990-3776. Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday with Greg and Gary.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Even when you think you know what's going on,
well, all men hate cold water because of shrinkage.
You can never be too sure.
Is that what it is? Like you were just...
Thought we were going to get
Am I
this.
I'm right.
You're not wrong.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
I did not expect to wrap up today's little episode with the word shrinkage. So,
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Save big money on everything you need at Menards. Bring charm and warmth to your home with a Hensley electric fireplace from Pleasant Hearth. Easily adjust the flame's brightness and temperature with the included remote control. It features a classic white finish with farmhouse-style details, plus storage for your home entertainment. Hurry in now to Menards and view all our great deals on Menards.com right now.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here. Don't let the chilly weather end your golf season. X-Golf and American Family Field is open all year round. They've got innovative and accurate golf simulators, all overlooking left field at AmFam Field. Enjoy daily lunch specials or have an outing with your friends and take in X-Golf's full bar and food menus. X-Golf AmFam Field is even offering golf lessons by a PGA Pro. Everyone is welcome at X-Golf AmFam. Book your sim today, xgolfamfamfield.com. I'll see you out there.
Kevin Moret from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, I know you hate to feel weak. That means something different for every guy, but for most guys, it means the way they look and move through their day. Did you know that 70% of Mentality clients see an increase in their muscle mass, their muscle tone, and the way they look? This means our clients got their confidence back. If you're looking to look and feel the way you did years ago, join the over 25,000 guys at Mentality and get your confidence back. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Stupid stairs. Ugh.
Mike, I thought we were going to remodel and put our master bedroom on the first floor. We're getting old, you know.
I know I usually come up with some excuse to avoid home improvements, but I guess that would make sense. We do it for our own customers all the time, so maybe we should now too.
Whether you're making your empty nest more accessible or creating the house of your dreams, call Professional Construction Inc., your go-to contractor for 20 years.
Cousin Subs is spicing things up this fall with a new sub and a delicious shake. The Chipotle Cheesesteak Sub with either grilled-to-order chicken or steak features pepper jack cheese, sauteed green peppers and onions, jalapenos, and Chipotle ranch dressing. And that's not all. Pair your Chipotle cheesesteak with a delicious mint shake and your taste buds will fall in love. Order in-store, online, or via the mobile app. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Winter is here. Don't let your car care take a backseat. Protect your car against rust, salt, and grime this season at Tsunami Express Car Wash. Tsunami Express makes cleanup a breeze with their state-of-the-art wash technology, powerful free vacuums, and convenient unlimited wash memberships. Try their new best-in-class T2 with graphene wash for the ultimate long-lasting shine and protection. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Try your first wash free when you sign up online at TsunamiExpress.com.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
We did a really good job. I got to give Half a ton of credit. I mean, I think he just, he does a heck of a job, man. It means a lot to him, obviously, but he does a great job of putting our guys in position, always coming up with things to kind of offset wherever our holes are, because me being an offensive guy, you always think that you can poke holes for any defensive scheme at some point. And it's just you're constantly trying to stay ahead of the competition. And Seattle does a great job in their screen game, so we knew that was going to be a part of this game. And I thought our guys went out there and took the coaching and executed at a high level.
Packers head coach Matt LaFleur on the defensive performance in last night's 30-13 win over the Seattle Seahawks. Greg and Gary with you. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, settling in for a Monday night doubleheader. Got the Raiders and Falcons about to kick off. There was a man in a gorilla suit with a large silver necklace on doing something. He's standing next to Darth Vader.
Raiders.
You ever play a game against the Raiders?
I don't think I have. I don't think I have played the Raiders. No.
All right, we talk about fan bases in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't. It's just a little different out in Raider country, isn't it? Whether it's Oakland, L.A., or Las Vegas now.
Their fans are.
It's just a little different.
Their fans are different, and the Eagles fans are a little different.
Yeah. No, boo Santa Claus.
Eagles fans want to fight.
Yep. Okay. Yes, they do.
All the time, anybody. And I played for the Lions, and the Lions fan, they fight each other.
Well, historically, they've got a lot to be upset about.
That was the thing, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of high fives in the crowd at a Lions game back in the day.
No, so they get drunk and fight each other in the stands. But now they don't.
Okay, well.
Now they're cordial to one another.
Starting to win a little bit. Before we get into the Packers defense,
sure.
I want to extend my gratitude to Gary Ellerson for staying awake here on the program. Gary polished off a meal before the show started that I can only describe as gargantuan. It was breakfast for dinner for Gary. Can you describe to our fans listening what you all had ordered for dinner tonight?
Well, I just want to say it's not my fault. I want to go on the record. It's not my fault. It's Haley's fault because she recommended that she was going to have pancakes. I was going to have a salad, and she wanted pancakes. And then I go, "Ooh, you guys have breakfast here?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, look at the menu." So, okay, can't get a menu. So, sure enough, she brings the menu up, and you can get breakfast here 24 hours a day. And I go, "Okay, let's get breakfast." And you know me, I'm a big guy. I didn't get this big by not eating. So I have to do a Gary. And I think you guys have been with me long enough where you've kind of figured out how I do stuff. I just like what I see and I order, and I do this everywhere I go. So I wanted the eggs. And as you guys listen to this, not all people can get away with this, but everybody should accommodate whatever you want to do if you're willing to pay for it. But I wanted eggs, I wanted scrambled. They only give you 2, but I wanted 3.
Okay.
So they gave me 3.
Oh, there you go.
I wanted potatoes, so they gave me potatoes. And then Haley's having the pancakes, and I go, "You can't have breakfast without pancakes." But I didn't know they were going to be the size of what you said they were.
Wagon wheels.
Wagon wheels.
These are big pancakes, Gary.
Wagon wheels.
The size of your face.
They were. And so I got the wagon wheel pancakes, and I was able to at least eat one of them.
Okay.
So I suggest if you come down here to Potawatomi, and we're at the sports book part of it, order the pancakes and make sure you bring somebody with you, and you can share the pancakes. Now, let me tell you how catchy this is. Haley's her fault. We ordered breakfast. We ordered the pancakes, right? I ordered pancakes. You and your dad walk in, right? Your dad sits down next to me and goes, "Ooh, that looks good." And what did he proceed to do?
Yeah, breakfast for dinner.
He ordered it for dinner. And of course, you being Mr. Independent, because you're the problem child.
Yep.
You order.
Yeah, Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
We just went a different route.
All together.
But it's very delicious. It doesn't matter what it is. You get it, it's delicious here. We do have a cart coming by to take the syrup and your pancakes back to you because you weren't able to finish them, and you certainly can't carry them.
And I tell you what, the syrup, they give you enough. Don't worry about it.
You definitely got enough. The third tub, I think.
The pancakes were so moist. Greg, you didn't have to
look good.
chew them. They
look good.
They just melt in your mouth. Just suck on the pancakes. It was unbelievable.
Okay. Well, you got a little snack for yourself a little bit later on.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take some home.
Here's a plan for you. You get home tonight, you pour a nice little bourbon, maybe a little maple bourbon, something like that. Enjoy the pancakes while you're watching the All-22 of the Packers game. Right?
Yeah, I could. You know what? You may be right.
Not a bad idea.
Can I get on my bicycle or elliptical as I'm eating the pancakes?
You can do that.
I feel like I'm going to have to do that.
Sure.
Okay.
That's okay. You can do that. I think what you will see when you look at the All-22 is that the Packers collectively played their best game on defense of the season. Got to take a few things into consideration.
Okay.
I want to ask you if you agree with this. I think their best overall game was against an Arizona team that looked disinterested. Arizona did not appear interested in Lambeau.
It was cold. It was cold.
Very strange game.
A little rainy that day, wasn't it?
It was just not. I watched that game and said Arizona is a train wreck.
They didn't want to be here.
Mess.
They didn't want to be here.
So this is different to me, right? That was a home game. This is a road game, but Seattle clearly had everything to play for. A team riding 4 straight wins, trying to outclass the Arizona Cardinals and others in that division. So for the Packers to do what they did after striking first on offense, collectively, if you look at this game last night, the defense, to me, played better than the offense, collectively, start to finish. They only gave up the 1 touchdown, but they had a pressure rate, Gary, and we've talked about this so many times this year. What is Jeff Hafley's defense? And we've sort of settled on it being whatever it needs to be for a given week. Here come the sacks again, right? I mean, there was pressure on 50% of dropbacks last night. There was always somebody in the backfield. 7 sacks, 6 different players had sacks. You had the turnovers, you had the tackles for loss. Run game was okay, but Seattle kind of had to pass to get back into the game. They couldn't lean on Zach Charbonnet, but for a touchdown. He's a pretty good back. DK Metcalf, they had a plan for him. Jackson Smith and Jigba had some nice gains, but didn't dominate the game. 9 players had a quarterback hit. Like, start to finish, I don't know if we've seen anything better than what we saw today. There have been games with more turnovers or more of this or a little less of that, but they had a little bit of everything cooking last night.
I'm a bit confused because let me say this to say that. You ready for this? Why didn't we see that game plan against Jared Goff?
It's a good question because I don't
because I don't disagree with you, but why didn't we see who are we afraid of from a receiver standpoint for the Detroit Lions that we couldn't blitz the way we did against Jared Goff?
I don't know if it's a consideration of the skill players so much as it is respect for the offensive line. And Jeff Hafley watching tape saying, we're going to get to Jared Goff, we got to bring folks from the secondary or from a different layer of the defense, and that is going to leave us vulnerable against Amon-Ra St. Brown, who torches every team across the middle, and a good tight end in Sam Laporta. We need bodies in the secondary if we're going to stop their passing game. That's just my guess, because you're talking about an offensive line that's of differing quality in Detroit than it is Seattle.
So you're saying you think we're not going to get home, so why hang my guys out to dry? Is that what you're saying? Okay. So I get that. There are 3 receivers, Seattle's 3 receivers, versus the 3 receivers that the Lions have. What group would you rather have?
Seattle's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have
Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tim Patrick, and Sam Laporta. You throw in Laporta and maybe it tilts it.
Yeah.
But point being, I get it. I get the conversation, and Seattle's got a good group.
Right. And I don't want to get past ourselves, but I think we're going to have to talk about it a little bit because they're going to go play the Saints. It's a game that they should win. It's a game they should be favored. I don't know what the point spread is, but it's a game they should be favored in. But behind that game is who?
Now you got your division matchup.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
In Minnesota. I want to see them play that kind of defense against Minnesota. They probably won't because they're afraid of Justin Jefferson get loose. And I get that. I understand that. But that's when, and this is what I'm talking about, they only got one guy in that locker room that can guard their dude if he's healthy. If he's healthy, then I think he locks him up. Then I think you can play the way you need from the play. But if they sit back there and let these quarterbacks dictate to them what they want to do, it's going to be a long day for our defense. And that's what they didn't do yesterday.
Best collective performance on defense yesterday? You think so?
Agreed. But now I need to see that every single game. Listen, Detroit throws defensively, Aaron Glenn throws caution to the wind. He don't even know who he has. He don't even know who's in the game. He's just blitzing numbers on a play sheet. And that's what you do. Don't care. I'd like to see us do some stuff like that, no matter who we play. But I think it feels like when we play those bigger names teams, we get maybe a little bit more conservative. You got to get Jared Goff off his spot, and you can't let, right now it appears, Sam Darnold just sit back there and pick his way through, because if he does, he's going to hurt you.
Overall, the Packers' defense this year is, to me, markedly better than it was a year ago.
Well, but the turnovers, Greg.
Markedly better, right? That's a big part of it.
That's a big part of it.
But just that it also appears to be a level of physicality, and I think it comes with a little bit more one-on-one play versus zone play. You sit in zone, you just got to make the tackle that's in front of you. Never mind how many yards you give up, you make the tackle that's in front of you. The Packers' defense, it appears to be more physical. It appears to be faster. There's more game-altering plays that have happened throughout the course of this year than in previous years, and I think it's reflective in the amount of points that they're giving up on average right now. That's a top 10 unit in terms of points allowed on defense, and a top 3 unit when it comes to takeaways, which is great. All good signs here for the Packers defense going into the final 3 weeks. Monday Night Football about to get going here in Las Vegas with the Raiders and Atlanta Falcons. We are underway with the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Bears. Keep you updated on that game when we come back. After this, it's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
Kyle Walls here from ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Bruston Norman, and you know I'm watching every snap this football season with the Underdog Fantasy Sports app in hand. With over 5 million people playing and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in. Make a play with just $1 or go big. Play their pick'em game, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Underdog has all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. You make picks for a pick'em entry and choose if players will go higher or lower when it comes to their stats. Maybe it's Jordan Love higher than 250 passing yards, or even Travis Kelce under 1.5 touchdowns. You can even win when you lose with Underdog's double flex option. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up using promo code KBN, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code KBN, and join me and millions of others and win big. Must be 18 plus in present state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org.
College hockey returns to Fiserv Forum with the 4th annual Quick Trip Holiday Face-Off, December 28th and 29th.
The Wisconsin Badgers return to defend their title, facing the Ferris State Bulldogs in semifinal action on day 1. The Yukon Huskies and Alaska Fairbanks Nanooks will battle for the other spot in the championship game.
Don't miss the college hockey action coming to Milwaukee and see who wins the championship on day 2. Secure your seats today at Ticketmaster.com.
The president of James Imaging Systems, Tom Tegeter.
Over 45 years ago, my father, James Tegeter, founded our company on a cornerstone of quality, integrity, and service as the best way of connecting with clients. As I reflect on 2024, I'm grateful for the James Imaging Systems team. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to always connecting with clients and helping them thrive. To each long-term client, I extend my gratitude and thanks for your confidence and support. We look forward to remaining connected to you as your local business technology partner. I also appreciate our new 2024 clients for connecting with us. Welcome to the James Imaging Systems family. Looking forward to 2025, I believe if each of us embraces the power of connection, our local community will prosper. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless America.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Definitely. Whenever you're running the ball well, the next stop is the defense going to try and figure out a way to take that away. And, they might load the box more, do things like that. So anytime you can run the ball, I think it just helps set up play action too and set up some more stuff down the field.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love, a very efficient night last night. It's kind of an interesting day for the Packers offense, as we've noted here. Got off to a very quick start, right? 14 points in the blink of an eye. They moved down the field throughout the course of the first half, leaning on Josh Jacobs. Had 9 touches in the first 10 plays, that 10-play scoring drive. And then you get to the second half, and things started to look a little bit different. So you go from this touchdown, field goal, to the second half offense where it was punt, field goal, punt, fumble, punt, turnover on downs, touchdown, and punt. And Matt LaFleur even took the blame for some of the play calling. He took the blame for some of the mismanaged clock at the end of the first half, in which roughly 30 seconds whittled off the clock. They got down to the doorstep on a pass play and ultimately decided to kick a field goal instead of going for it with just very little time left on the clock at the 4-yard line. Nevertheless, overall, pretty good performance here by the Packers on offense and on defense. But I want to get back to Josh Jacobs. 30 touches. 30 touches in mid-December. Granted, they had a week and change off following back-to-back Thursday night performances, but 30 touches for a running back in December. It's not the time you're always feeling your best, right? They have found an identity, and it has led to this sort of bruising rushing attack that they didn't really have with Aaron Jones, just a different player. Not to say Aaron Jones wasn't good. He was great for the Green Bay Packers, but he wasn't a 30-touch-a-game guy, Gary. No. In fact, you'd get to 20, and you felt like, they would kind of get nervous. I can't do too much more than that. We would always hope for 20, and A.J. Dillon would get some.
Right.
Well, Jacobs is all of it. I mean, he is all of it right now.
Yeah. And that's what you got to be careful with, though, a little bit with Josh Jacobs and the amount of but he seems to be built for it. So you give it to him. And now he's catching balls out of the backfield, but not the guarding variety that we saw Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones would split out, get in the slot. He'd work out there a little bit. You see them doing him with a lot of little slip screens, little swing passes out of the backfield. He's got pretty good hands. Josh Jacobs does. And so they've been leaning on him pretty heavily. You still got Chris Brooks, who's in the rotation. I didn't see much of Emmanuel Wilson in this game.
I think he and Brooks both had a couple of touches. It wasn't much.
And that's what I thought would happen, because if you got to get Jaden Reed now involved, Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson somebody's got to take a back seat to him. And so you got Jaden Reed involved a little bit more in the run game. I think he had a couple touches out of the run game. And that's what happened in the second half, Greg. So they go in at halftime. It's okay, we got to tighten this thing up and not let Josh Jacobs run rough shot overs. And it took them a minute or two for the Packers, to get caught up to what they were doing with the adjustment. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing them attacking him a little bit more with Jaden Reed on the outside, and then they start getting some more yards. But I agree with you, when we first opened up the show, you started talking about the fumble and then the muff punt and things of that nature. The fumble, to me, kind of let them back in the game. Had we not had that fumble, I think it would have been okay, but those are some of the misfortunate things that happen in the game that you have overcome, along with teams making adjustments at halftime.
Josh Jacobs carrying the lion's share of the ball for the Packers yesterday, with some spells from Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks. Jaden Reed more involved in short, intermediate passing game. We saw him get 5 receptions, just a little over 30 yards, not a back-breaking day for him, but a solid day just to get involved again after some quiet weeks. Is there a more indispensable player on offense right now than Josh Jacobs?
No, it starts and ends with him, if you ask me. Everything is now built off of Josh Jacobs. Now, You heard Jason Wilde just came on, talk a little bit about, the plays of script, and we script plays too on the Forest Grid, believe it or not. So I talk about the first 30 plays. I think Forest they would just stick to the script no matter what. They didn't go off. But in this, Matt LaFleur deviated a little bit from the script, which is great, because if it's working, run it again. Run it again. Run it again, the same play to the other side. Run it again until you stop it. And so that's what I like about Matt LaFleur, though. He's creative that way where you do have a play sheet. You know what you want to call. But if it's working and they didn't stop it, go back to it.
You've seen what the Packers have done with their offensive line, how they're getting the ball into the running back's hands. Let's put you in that backfield, right? You're going through the week of game plans. You see all the motion. You see all the kind of misdirection kind of things they do. Handoffs where Jordan Love, it appears he's going one direction, but somehow sneaks it to Jacobs, who runs up the middle. There is nothing fancy about the holes they are attacking. But getting in, there is creativity in how they're getting the ball into the carrier's hands. Right? Is that a good way of articulating it?
No, they are, Greg. And they give you a lot of window dressing. They give you a lot of April Fool's stuff. They give you fool's goals stuff. Whether the old banana in the tailpipe, all that stuff. They give you a lot of window dressing. That's another one. They give you a lot of window dressing, show you a lot of different things. They show you a lot of motion and which one these jokers going to bite on. Which defense, which guy is not going to be disciplined enough and see what he sees and stay home. And then they're trying to create angles, blocks off of those things that they give you to jump out of position where everybody talk about Kyle Shanahan and McVay and all these guys came from the same school, right? Kevin O'Connell. I just think Matt LaFleur, to me, just doesn't get the credit he deserves in how he designs a game plan for his offensive players. I mean, I would love to play for a guy like that because you know what's coming down, you know what they're trying to do, you know what guys that they're trying to move and try to affect, and from that, you know where your run lane is going to be.
I think it'll change if Matt LaFleur gets to a Super Bowl, right? That's the difference. You talk about the Shanahan tree. Kyle Shanahan's been to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Sean McVay's been to and won a Super Bowl. Matt LaFleur has not been to a Super Bowl. He gets to a Super Bowl, all of a sudden I think that you're going to hear more of those tree conversations with him sort of maybe moving to the top of the list.
You know who don't get a lot of credit? Maybe I mentioned to you before, I don't know if I did. You know who don't get a lot of credit for this tree? Is Jay Gruden. Because I think Jay Gruden, if I'm not mistaken,
well, he was the coach in Washington.
Was the head coach at Washington. He had all these guys under him. McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan. I think they were all in Washington under Jay Gruden. Did you know that? I'm not 100% sure if I'm clear on that, but I think that's where they all were under Jay Gruden. And when you watch TV, they always talk about the Shanahan tree or the McVay tree. No one ever make mentions of Jay Gruden because Jay Gruden had all these young guys, I think, on his coaching staff together in Washington. I'm going to have to do some homework.
Yeah, now they all branched out.
And then they all branched out, but you never hear Jay Gruden's name.
Well, LaFleur's the guy who needs to get to a Super Bowl to get into that conversation with
Sean. You think so?
McVay.
You think that's what it is?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just sort of a defining moment in one's career. It's part of your legacy. You become a good playoff team, and you make a couple of moves here and there, and you develop a quarterback, have a good offensive mind. Yeah, that's all good, right? That's fun stuff to talk about. You get to a Super Bowl, all of a sudden the conversation changes. Big time. That's the goal. That is certainly the goal. Packers in good playoff shape. They really didn't increase their playoff chances all that much with last night's win. It was already sitting at like 96%. Mm-hmm. So they're in good shape to be a playoff team. We know that. That's not the concern here. And the big question is, where do they end up in the seedings when it's all said and done? You got Washington breathing down Green Bay's neck, just one game back. You've got Minnesota, one game ahead of Green Bay in the win column, currently winning in Chicago right now 10-0 as they just getting started here in the second quarter. So plenty of football to be played, plenty of meaningful football to be played here for the Packers over the final few weeks. One more segment of the program coming up on the other side. We'll get to our Pro Football Focus grades of the week, also Gary's power rankings. Keep you updated on Monday Night Football as well. More after this. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. After after every single green and gold game.
You can say it doesn't matter, but that's not being fair.
There's only one place to go for instant reaction.
Once, since they won the Super Bowl in 2010, one season, have they done better than 10th in points given up.
And to give yours on the Boda Box Wine Line. Tune into Green Bay Game Night with Homer after every green and gold game. Right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 200 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states and is the best place to get real money sports action. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Kevin Moret for Mentality Men's Health. I know that a guy's confidence comes from many sources. For our clients, the way they look is a big driver. When you have the muscle mass and the muscle tone, it changes the way you carry yourself. Did you know that 70% of Mentality clients have increased muscle mass and muscle tone through testosterone and peptide therapy? Their confidence is back and everyone can see it. If you want to recapture the way you look and felt years ago, join the over 25,000 clients and start today. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
For more than 40 years, Network Health has been the trusted experts in health plans. Just like you, they're honest, hardworking, and grateful to call Wisconsin home. Whether you're seeking coverage for yourself, your family, or your employees, Network Health has you covered with a range of options, including individual and family marketplace plans, employer plans, and Medicare Advantage plans. Call Steve Fluellen, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. The Saganiac Planning Marquette Records. Greatest shot blocker for Marquette, Jim McIlvain. Second best shot blocker, Jim McIlvain on a bad day. 13 block shots against Northeastern Illinois in 92. Best ever by someone other than Jim McIlvain, 8. Theo John, Amal McCaskill, and Walter Downing. And one other with 8 blocks in a game, 5 different times. Yep, Jim McIlvain. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Experience the excellence of Catholic Memorial High School for yourself. Come see why their students gain a competitive edge at CMH. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule a VIP tour or student shadow day. Meet their inspiring teachers, welcoming students, and feel the energy of the CMH culture. All students achieve more than they ever imagined possible. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule your visit. That's CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School in Waukesha, where you rise.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris are joined by ESPN NBA front office insider Bobby Marks. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, I feel really good. I think we're in a really good spot. I think we got to do the same thing we've talked about all season, just take it one game at a time and finish the season off and, be where we want to be for playoffs. But I like where we're at, and we just got to keep figuring out ways to get better, keep pushing each other, and finding ways to get these wins to end the season off. But I like where we're at.
3 games left for the Packers in the regular season. Monday night of next week, so we will not have a show next week here from Potawatomi Sportsbook because at this time next week, Monday night, the Packers will be hosting the New Orleans Saints. Gary will be at Lambeau Field. I'll be on my couch in front of a fireplace and a Christmas tree watching football. It'll be nice.
Are you digging it in here to me a little bit?
No. I think it'd be a great environment. That'd be a nice place to be at the game on Monday night of next week. It'd be a late night for you getting back. I'm concerned about you. We'll send you a ride or something like that to get you home.
This guy, you're good. When were you going to be?
I'll be on the couch. Fireplace will be going. Yeah. Christmas tree lights will be on.
It'll
be nice.
Where's the dog? Where's he?
Dog will probably be on his bed in front of the couch.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
All right.
Beached out.
Mm-hmm.
He sleeps like 16 hours a day. That's what happens.
That's what
okay.
they do. Just one run. That's all he needs.
Then he got a trip to Minnesota and a home game against the Chicago Bears. Still not exactly sure when that game is going to be played. The NFL leaves that open. But who knows? Who knows what it could mean for the Packers? I can guarantee this. It won't be much for the Bears unless you're talking about draft positioning. And that's about it. Bears trailing the Vikings right now 10-0 in the second quarter. No score in Las Vegas with the Falcons taking on the Raiders. Both teams have had one possession, about 4.5 minutes left to go in the first. Where will any of those teams that we just mentioned show up in Gary's power rankings? Time to get to it. Top 5 in the league here, according to our man Gary Ellerson. Chris has fired up the music. Gary, where do we begin? 5 to 1, 1 to 5. How do you want to do it?
Let's go 5 to 1, Greg.
Okay.
As much as I would love to leave this team out of my top 5, I just can't, Greg. I mean, I've been trying to all year long, and I just can't. The Minnesota Vikings come at number 5 for me. I mean, they're just playing, outside of some other teams I'm going to name, probably the best football in the National Football League. Sam Darnold, I thought he was going to come back to the Pack. They're not doing that. Aaron Jones, I thought would be hurt by now. Not hurt. Defense is playing really well. They're running to the ball. They're blitzing people, confusing a lot of offenses. Vikings at 5. Number 4 will be Kansas City. Now, you know, Kansas City has been my team 1-2 all year. 1-2 all year. But I think they're falling down a little bit. They seem to be hurt. Mahomes seems to have a little ankle issue. Have you watched Travis Kelce lately? God, he seems like he's 100.
I thought that earlier in this season that he kind of slowed up, and then after Rashee Rice got hurt, they had no choice. Kelce became the guy. They got DeAndre Hopkins, so they've got an aging skill position group with the exception of they have a rookie wide receiver and a young running back.
So Kansas City Chiefs comes in at 4 for me. The Detroit Lions, obviously, we know they took that loss to Buffalo.
Yep.
They come in at number 3 until, they're still leading division until someone goes in and knock them off. I got them at 3. At number 2, the Eagles. I have the Eagles at number 2. I think they're probably playing some really good football where they won 10 games in a row. They still got a lot of infighting going on there, but it seems to make them play even better. So for me, the Philadelphia Eagles, led by Jalen Hurts, is at number 2. And number 1, my new number 1, will be the Buffalo Bills. I think Josh Allen is probably the leading candidate to win MVP. He should get it. There's nobody else playing football as well as he is. So give me the Buffalo Bills at 1.
Yeah, we have the exact same top 5 this week.
No, we don't.
Sorry
in that
to
order?
say. Exact same order. I wasn't sure if you were going to give the Lions a big hit. And that's not a big hit. We're talking about the elite teams here in the NFL. So going from 1 to 3, what does that really say in the grand scheme of things? But I'm with you. But my worry now for the Lions is far more significant than it was even a week ago. And it's not because they lost to the Bills. It's because they lost to the Bills and lost 3 more starters for the season.
Yep.
This has to catch up with the team, right? You can go for it on 4th and 10 all you want. You can bring out the onside kick at a time where you maybe shouldn't do it like Dan Campbell does. You can roll the dice like Dan Campbell does week in and week out. But at some point, the loss of talent brings you back down to earth. And they're able to get by without Aiden Hutchinson. All right, they signed Zadarius Smith, aging, but still kind of a one-trick pony who knows how to get to the quarterback. Well, since then, they've lost multiple defensive linemen. They lost their kicker, if you want to go back to the start of the season. They've now lost one of their starting running backs, the guy who gets the first series of the game in David Montgomery. Their bruiser, who they use as a receiver as well. They lost a starting D-back and a defensive lineman just last night. 3 more starters. They got like 20 guys on IR. At some point, it catches up with you. It has to, right?
We're waiting, but
they
it's not.
Cannot stop anybody anymore.
No,
I think that you want to know why Dan Campbell called for an onside kick, which, by the way, you have to report now in the new rules of the NFL. It's because he didn't think there was a snowball's chance, and you know what, in stopping Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah.
He knew it.
Still a bad play.
They needed to steal a possession, and that's the only way he could think of doing it.
Still a bad play call.
I agree.
Yeah.
But that's what he announced.
Yeah.
We can't stop anybody. Here's our only shot.
Right.
So I am with you. I still think the Lions are a good team, and 12-2 is no joke. But they, to me, become a little more vulnerable now in round 2 of the playoffs. And they may have to play a round 1. We'll see how things shake out. But if you're telling me it's a guarantee that the Lions are just going to waltz through their final 3 games with their injury issues, I'm not subscribing to that yet. I'm not. I can't. A good, talented team, but, man, you can only take so many hits.
No, and that's the thing. And they play a rough brand of football, too. They want to be very physical. And at some point, he catches up with you. And I think that's why they're having so many doggone injuries right now.
That's what we're looking at. All right, we are in lockstep with our top 5 power rankings heading into the final 3 weeks of the season. Want to get you caught up to speed on Pro Football Focus, top-graded Packers from the Sunday night game against the Seattle Seahawks. Pro Football Focus grades for the Packers. We already touched on it a little bit here in the program. Top 5 offensive players for the Green Bay Packers in last night's win over Seattle. In reverse order, it's Jaden Reed, Josh Myers, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, and Zach Tom. So Jordan Love not in the top 5, had a pretty good game. Any names jump off the page to you for that?
No, not really. I think they all played well. I mean, I think when you start looking at what they were able to do offensively, I mean, they up front, they handled that team up front. And to me, I think the offensive line maybe now getting healthy and playing well, and they look good right now as a unit up front.
Top 5 on defense. I was curious to see Eric Stokes' name in that. I don't think he's been there at all this season to this point. So maybe you have to go back and watch it and just see how he became a factor in the game last night. Kenny Clark, number 4. T.J. Slayton, number 3. Carrington Valentine almost had a pick on one play and got a pick the very next play. Nice hands catch in the corner of the end zone. He graded out at a 90.2 on a 100-point scale. And Edgerrin Cooper grading out as the highest-rated Packer on defense and really of the game, grading out at 93.8 on that 100-point scale. 3 pressures, 4 stops, 2 tackles for loss, sack, 2 pass breakups, and a pick. That's a good 2 games.
That is a good stretch there for them. And I think when you look at the defense, I still think the defense is getting better, and we talked about a little bit earlier today. And it's good to see where these guys are at in the rankings. They played well.
I like to see this. Plus, Stokes gave up 2 completions for 10 yards over 44 coverage snaps. So kind of an interesting nugget there. When you're talking about playing without Jair Alexander, you'd like there not to be such a drop-off. You know there's going to be some, but you'd like to think that a former top draft pick in Eric Stokes could, be a guy to be more than serviceable. He's been very up and down so far this season. I would say more downs than up. So good to see him grade out as an impact player. But for this team to go where it wants to go, you still kind of feel like Jair's got to be a piece to that puzzle.
He does. I still think at the end of the day on their back end, once they get down into the playoffs, and I don't know how long he's going to be out, but the closer they get to the playoffs, I think, he's got to be a guy that you can count on that they need in the back end.
What's going on there? What do you think is really going on there?
I don't know.
He practiced twice last week. Matt LaFleur, either covering for his guy or maybe doesn't know the answer himself, said, I didn't want a situation to crop up where we planned on having him, and then he was out there for 2 plays like he was against the Bears, and all of a sudden we got to yank him out of the game, and then we have to juggle everything.
Right, and he's right about that, because what he ends up doing is taking valuable practice time from somebody else. So you got to have him there if he doesn't want to be there.
We are out of time with tonight's program. We will join you again in a couple of weeks here. Packers have a Monday night matchup against the Saints on the 23rd. We'll be back on the 30th with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. I want to thank the fine folks here at Potawatomi Sportsbook for hosting us each and every week in this incredible sportsbook. Come down and see it. Best place to watch sports in the state. For Chris Larson producing the program and Gary Ellerson, I'm Greg Matzik signing off on ESPN Milwaukee.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a